Do you know very many people who have done the pack? And what do you think influences one's decision to either do the packs or the marriage? And would you ever consider doing it?
Well, I'm married now, so I can't go back, I guess. But I would have considered doing it. And you know what? Just after when I became a teacher, actually, it became a big issue because a lot of people, a lot of my colleagues or future colleagues were actually going to do a PAX because it was a way to get some points in the Éducation Nationale, like to work for the National Education Board, and then get a better position. So a lot of people did that because, and not because they loved the person they were paxing with, but just because they used it. So it can be used, but it's been used and abused by a lot of people for, I don't know, different reasons, like get an apartment and stuff. I think it was a good way of getting people adjusted to the idea of gay marriage. I think we probably should move on now and make it, I don't know, available. But it's not only gay people going into the PACs. Again, I got a lot of heterosexual friends who did it, and most of my friends are actually not married. Either they have the PACs or they have a system of concubinage. But the PACs is more interesting if you want to have, if you want to buy your property or leave your money to the other person in case something happens to you, and you're better insured with the PACs than with the concubinage.
Just living together is concubinage.
Yes, not really, because it's not just shacking up together. I mean, it's really going and you're signing some papers. It's not as official as the PACs, but they have a recognized status for that.
Oh,
it's, I don't know, it's a subtlety.
I see. Do you have to live together for like 7 years to get it?
I don't think it works like that, no. I think it's really something that the two persons go together and say, well, we're gonna be doing this. But it's not as binding as the PACs. Now, a lot of people choose the PACs because it's way more convenient, especially in the case of a divorce, and a lot of people get separated. So a PACs is easier to break than a marriage, because you just go there, I mean, you untie and
Great. And would you ever consider doing it?
Well, again, that's a non-choice for me, but
right, because you're already married.
I would have done it. I think I would have done it because, yeah, for me, that's not that important to get married, especially since here in the States you go to the church. That's very important, church or whatever your religion is. I mean, you go to the religious place, and that's binding. In France, if you go to a place of cult, I mean a temple or church or whatever, you do that for the fun. You don't get that in order to get the paper. I mean, you really need to go to the town hall in order to be legally married. So some people that are not religious at all still go to the church or the temple or the synagogue or whatever, just because they think it's going to look better in pictures, because people are not that religious in France anymore. But yeah, I mean, for me, since I wouldn't have minded not getting married in a church, I mean, I guess the PACs would have been a good solution.
Great. Next is about the age when people get married. Does it seem to you like people are getting married later in life, and what do you think influences this decision?
Well, opportunity, I'm gonna say, because for some people, I mean, it's hard to meet someone now. I mean, some of my friends are still single, and for those who are in a relationship, again, you know, getting married is not that important anymore. Actually, some of them have children, and they don't think it's as much of a commitment, surprisingly, as getting married, which I don't understand personally. But yes, they do. When you find somebody, you're prone usually to meet them later in life, and getting married probably later. Like, I think the average age for a first child is 32 or 33 now in France, so it gives you an idea of a relationship.
Great. What do you think influences one's decision on how many children to have, if they want children?
Same thing. Again, I mean, first you have to meet the right person to have a child with.
Hopefully.
Your career is going to be in the way for a girl. I mean, it's the same problem, I think, in every Western country right now, that
sure.
the birth rate is going down. It's something probably as absurd as 1.9 right now, for whatever it means. But usually you've got families of 2 children. I'm going to say when you get into 3 children, you're close to be famille nombreuse, like
a bigger family.
Yeah,
sure.
I think 4 is actually the number for famille nombreuse.
Oh, really? Oh,
I think it's good.
What is your vision of the difference between family value, the value placed on having a family in the United States versus the value placed on having a family in France?
My personal view, there's a constant emphasis here in this country about family values, and that's American to have family values, and family is very important. But and we are less loud about it in France, but I think that we make it happen. And I don't think that in the States we make it happen as much. When you see the number of hours that people are putting in their work, I mean, they are working for their family, which is very important because they're putting bread on the table for their families. But I think it's more important when you spend time with your family than working or doing something. And the system is not very helping. For instance, maternity leave. I mean, and this is the reason why I would like to wait that I'm back in my country before having children, is that in France I get I think 6 weeks of maternity leave with full pay. Sometimes here you have to negotiate, sometimes it's difficult, and I mean it seems that the system doesn't encourage you to spend time with your family. So for me it's kind of a double way of, I mean the double standard, double way of speaking about it is that people in the States say that family is very important, but nothing in the system and nothing in the country is made to make it happen.
Whereas in France, what are the mechanisms that you think support a family in France?
For instance, the fact that you have a better access to a creche or some
nursery,
daycare or whatever to take care of your children, or kindergarten starts earlier, I think, and maternity leave is one thing. The 35-hour week, which is an issue for other reasons, but I mean, still, I mean, and people really, and also the dinner thing, for instance, is very important in France, even though the trend is changing because a lot of people are eating out and don't spend as much time cooking. But I mean, usually you're gonna have more traditional families in the sense that they do meet at the table and they spend time together. And sometimes for me, but again, it's gonna be limited to a certain number of families that I've had the chance to survey, let's say. It's just like you find like sometimes it's artificial that they need to make an appointment to spend time together. In the United States,
you make an appointment to do it.
Yes, like we're gonna need to talk today, so we're gonna find some time to have a family talk today. Whereas, you know, I was around my parents, if we wanted to talk, we talked. If we didn't want to talk, we didn't talk. But I mean, they were
there.
And especially since we're spending way more time at our parents. I mean, people usually, I mean, again, usually, because generality, but you usually stay at your parents until, I don't know, 23, 24. You go to college in your hometown. I mean, you don't need to apply to another university because it's not a problem of stipend, or since it's centralized, you get pretty much the same education everywhere.